The NASCAR Cup Series heads to the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we see a very crazy and chaotic race with a ton of wrecks and spins, and we see a usual suspected team pick up the victory here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the 2020 Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I've got a lot of thoughts on this race. Let's go and just jump straight into it. Of course, coming in this weekend, we knew this was going to be a different configuration of track. They basically repaved and reconfigured. We talked about this yesterday on the channel, but they repaved and reconfigured the track, and it created a type of super speed racing. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Before the green flag dropped in today's race, Brad Keselowski, Harrison Burton would have to go to the rear. Brad Keselowski would go to the rear for unapproved adjustments, and Harrison Burton would have to go to the rear for failing tech 2 times on Sunday. So on the start, you have Chase Briscoe leading from the outside with Ryan Blaney inside, and Ryan Blaney was able to get the lead on the start. Then Chase Briscoe got the lead back from him, and then Kyle Busch was able to get the race lead and then led for the next portion of this race. Then we saw Chase and Kyle Busch battle for the lead a little bit, and basically saw back and forth racing in the early portions of this race. Basically saw the guys leading like Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott. And the first caution this race, with many cautions race, will come out on lap 24 for Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson was loose coming into turn number 2 and hit the outside wall really hard, bring out the caution this race. Such a shame because Noah Gragson probably was going to have a good run. Unfortunately, he falls out of the race first. And then we basically see Byron Jr. actually get the lead from Bubba Wallace during that time as well, right before the caution took place. And then because this, there was a decision factor if there was going to be the competition caution or not. NASCAR decided to not throw the competition caution. And we saw some strategy. Guys like Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, Ty Dillon, Josh Bigley, Greg Biffle, among those guys came to pit road while the rest of the field decided to stay out. And of course, Greg Biffle and Alex Bowman would get speeding penalties on pit road. So on the restart, Kyle Busch leave the field from the outside. Ross Chastain going from basically inside. And we saw Kyle Busch keep the race lead for a few laps. And then William Byron got around Kyle Busch and took the race lead. And then we thought there was going to be another incident a lap later where Chase Briscoe, we thought, was going to wreck. But he was able to keep going, did not have any major issues, and was able to keep going. And then the racing would get really nuts and crazy. Basically two wide down the backstretch in the front stretch, and up to the point where the competition caution came out with Ross Chastain basically getting around William Byron for first at the time, and that would be when the competition caution comes out. All the lead lap cars that come down the road, and there's a lot of chaos on pit road. Bubba Wallace will get blocked into his pit stall. Eric Almirola spun in pit road after contact from Eric Jones. Multiple drivers will get equipment violations, interferences, be Christopher Bell, Justin Haley, and Kurt Busch. And Brad Keselowski also got some damage on pit road as well. And then meanwhile, Ryan Blaney actually had to come back down the road because they did not fuel the car properly, and they took 4 tires as well. Man, Ryan Blaney's pit crew has got to get their stuff together because that's going to affect them throughout the season. And then we go back racing in lap 52. With Joey Logano leading the field from the outside with Denny Hamlin on the inside, and we saw Joey Logano lead for a few laps, and then it became a back and forth run between Ross Chastain and Joey Logano. Ross Chastain leading for a little bit, and then Joey Logano got the lead back. And then we would basically see Ross Chastain keep the race lead, and basically all decided to go up to the high line. And it looks like it's going to be very straightforward. Ross Chastain's going to hang on. They basically go single file for a while. And then, while from the lead, Ross Chastain gets a flat tire going into turn, I believe turn number 3, and basically spins out, turn 1, and spins out, bring out the caution, but didn't get a ton of damage from that. Then we see a bunch of cars come down pit road, guys like Austin or Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace. Again, tire issues have been a big thing, but those guys that come down pit road while the rest leaders decided to stay out. Ty Dillon was getting penalized for removing equipment after the gas can got stuck. And then on the restart, William Byron leading the field from the green, with Ross Chastain basically sitting up here with Denny Hamlin on the outside. We would see basically William Byron get the lead, and it looks like that Austin Dillon's going to try to get the race lead from William Byron. And then we see the next more trouble on pit, basically in going to turn number 4. Kyle Busch basically got into the back of Austin Dillon, or Austin Dillon got a little loose. Both they can get into the outside wall really hard. And this collects Ty Dillon and Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, of course, last week's winner. He would get a ton of damage, bringing out the caution. Because of this, would actually be the end of stage number 1, with William Byron winning the first stage in this race. We saw some guys decide to stay out on pit road while the rest leaders decided to come down pit road. And on the race, you have Christopher Bell leading the field from the outside with Joey Logano on the inside. And we saw Christopher Bell get the race lead and actually dominate the next portion. Then Kevin Harvick got around him, and he was able to take the race lead. And then Mark Truex Jr. got around and took the race lead. Then Kurt Busch led some laps. Then we saw a lot of guys leading, including Stenhouse, Justin Haley, and then Tyler Reddick, and then William Byron got the race lead back. And then in the middle of the pack, we would see one of the contenders, Tyler Reddick, who was leading at one point. He would basically have another tire go down going into turn number 4 and brought out the next major yellow of his race. Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Corey LaJoie, Denny Hamlin, Chris Bell, Harrison Burton, Joey Logano, Michael McDowell, Todd Gillen, Cole Custer, Kurt Busch, and Alex Bowman would all get involved in this big one. Very unfortunate. Tyler Reddick was having a good run, and unfortunately this would bring the caution out in this race. And then we see all leaders come down pit road, and Mark Truex Jr. actually would get a penalty for speeding out of pit road, and Daniel Suarez got penalized for pitting outside the box. And then on the restart, you have William Byron lead the field from the inside with Kevin Harvick on the outs, and then Kevin Harvick got a really strong run and got the race lead. And it looks like we're going to stay green, and then the debris caution would come out. Dude, I think from Tyler Reddick's car, a debris caution would come out. And then you basically see a couple guys come down through it probably to fix damage, while the rest of the field decided to stay out. So on the restart, Kevin Harvick lead the field from the outside with William Byron on the inside. And we saw Kevin Harvick keep the race lead. And William Byron actually got the race lead from Kevin Harvick. Then Kyle Busch would actually get loose going into turn number 3, but was able to save it almost legitimately LePage the field and was able, though, to keep going. But then he would come down the road and take the car to the garage. And then we see Brian Blaney actually passed William Byron for the race lead and got the lead back. Then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got the lead, and it looks like Stenhouse is going to run away with this thing. And then on lap 201, the next major accident would happen in this race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would lose a tire going basically in turn number 3 and spun out and took a bunch of guys involved, including Austin Cindric, Kevin Harvick, and Eric Jones. Kyle Larson also got into Christopher Bell a little bit. Luckily, there wasn't any major damage from that, but a couple guys would get a ton of damage. And Stenhouse, who had a strong car, unfortunately fell out of the race. And then we see the leaders all come down pit road. We see Christopher Bell basically get a penalty for moving equipment off of pit road. He would go to the tail end, while others also decided to stay out during that caution as well. And then on the restart, Ryan Blaney lead the field from the outside with Kyle Larson inside. And Kyle Larson actually got the race lead. Kyle Larson, despite having damage, he was having a pretty strong run and was trying to get up to the front. And then we would see the next caution in this race. Basically, Ryan Blaney would actually get the lead from Kyle Larson. And basically, the caution would come out here on lap 209 or 210 for an incident between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin was pushing in the corner way too hard in turn number 4 and gets in the back of Kyle Larson. I do not know what Denny Hamlin was trying to do there. He was being way too aggressive right there. No reason to push that much into the corner. He could have held back a little bit. Denny Hamlin even admits that. That was stupid on Denny Hamlin's part. And Denny Hamlin's season continues. It's unfortunate because both Denny and Larson probably had shots to win this race. And they take each other out of contention in this race. And Chase Elliott also got damaged in that. That was stupid on Denny Hamlin's part. And like I said, because of that, Ryan Blaney would win stage number 2 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we basically see a lot of guys come down per road if the leaders deciding to stay out. We also had a new record for leaders as well in this race. And then we went back racing on lap 219 with Daniel Suarez leading the field from the outside of Mark Truex Jr. on the inside. And we saw Daniel Suarez get the lead and lead the next portion for a little bit. And then Chase Elliott got around him and took the race lead. And then the race died down for a little bit and it calmed down here for just a little bit. And then with around 80 laps to go in this race, or 70 to go, we would see the next caution of this race come out for debris. Seemed like a debris that came off a car, I'm not entirely sure, but debris would come off, bring out the caution in this race. And then we go back racing a lap 260 with Eric Almirola leading the field from the outside with William Byron on the inside. And then we saw Eric Almirola lead for a few laps. And then William Byron got the race lead back. And William Byron actually would dominate the next portion of the race with Bubba Wallace right behind him. Bubba Wallace has been having a really strong run in this race up to that point, and he was right behind him. And it looks like this race may go to the end. And then with 25 laps to go, the field catches the lap cars of Todd Gillen and Michael McDowell. And Todd Gillen was spent down on the backstretch. And unfortunately, Cody Ware would get some really hard contact as well. Todd Gillen would get a ton of damage. Cody Ware would get collected. I think there was a checkup for Josh Bilicki. And Greg Biffle, unfortunately, gets in the back of Cody Ware. And we see Cody Ware hit the inside wall really, really hard. Lucky for Cody Ware, he was okay. He got out of the car. But that was a very scary incident. Luckily, everybody was okay. And then we see a lot of guys come down pit road, basically trying to make sure they have enough gas to make it. And then we go back racing with around 18 laps to go, with William Byron leading the field back on the inside with Bubba Wallace on the outside, and William Byron gets the race lead. And then a lap later, Eric Almirola gets spun from 4th position after some contact with Daniel Suarez. This brings out the caution after Chastain also got into the back of him, bring out the caution in this race. And then we go back racing a few laps later with William Byron leading field from the inside with Bubba Wallace on the outside. And then we saw William Byron get the race lead, and then Bubba actually got the lead. And then a few laps later, William Byron got the race lead. And it looks like that William Byron is going to hang on. He actually has the lead. So at this point, you got to start thinking about what you're going to do here in the last test, because this race is like a traditional super speedway. So it comes down to the last two laps. You got Chase Elliott's trying to make some moves, but it doesn't work out. He starts falling back. Then right on the last lap or two to go, we start seeing some major moves happen. And Ross Chastain decides, instead of helping Bubba Wallace out, he decides to make a move for himself. And he goes in the inside, gets into Bubba Wallace, and pushes him up the track into Ryan Blaney. And there's a multi-car wreck down the backstretch. Ryan Blaney creates first, who got damage on the backstretch. And then coming into turn number 4, there will be a very, very scary crash here at turn number 4. Actually, Chris Bowen below Jan. We'll get into that in a second. But basically, down the front stretch, there will be a massive, massive accident where Justin Haley, Bubba Wallace, and Chris Buescher will crash right behind the winner race, which will be William Byron, as William Byron comes off the corner and picks up his first victory of the 2022 season in crazy fashion and picks up his 3rd career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Meanwhile, like I mentioned, Christopher Bell, he actually crossed the line second, but unfortunately, he would get a penalty for basically passing car below the yellow line. The double yellow line rule is very, very controversial. He probably should not have it, but at the same time, he did pass below, so he did not pass the rules. I think it was overall the right call, but overall, it is what it is. But again, the double yellow line rule, in my opinion, is really, really stupid. Now, talking about William Byron in the win for a second. William Byron deserved this win. Yes, it's super speedway, and there's a lot of guys that were up there, but William Byron led over 100 laps. He had the best car all race long. It seemed like if you're going to win in this race, you were going to have to be William Byron. He also becomes the 5th straight driver under the age of 30 to win, and also they believe this is the 11th straight race where a driver under the age of 30 has won, which has basically broken the record, I believe, of consecutive winners under the age of 30. William Byron deserves this win. Huge congratulations to him. He's been very fast start this year, and he absolutely deserves victory, and he really needed this big break as well. So huge congratulations to William Byron. Let's now go through the results and give you my score and thoughts on the race as a whole and thoughts on the new Atlanta repave. So William Byron picks up the victory today. Ross Chastain finished the second. This is his 3rd straight top 5 finish. Wins coming for Ross Chastain. He was really, really fast today. I feel bad for Bubba. I feel kind of upset a little bit because of what he did to Bubba at the end of there. But a top 5 run regardless. Good run for Ross Chastain. He finishes a second. Kurt Busch finishes 3rd. How about that? Kurt Busch was basically was up front points in this race. He's somehow always finds his way to finish his way into the top 5, and he gets another solid top 5 finish. How about that for Kurt Busch? A great point stay at the end of the day. A good 3rd place finish. He finished 3rd. Great run for Kurt Busch. He got involved in one of those wrecks and still gets top 5 finish. How about that? Daniel Suarez finished this board. Very solid run for Daniel Suarez today. He actually ran up front of the majority of this race, ran top 10. I thought he was going to have a shot to win. I think he was one of my underdog picks, if I'm not mistaken, to win. So, great run for Daniel Suarez. 4th place finish. Great run for Trackhouse. Both Trackhouse cars finishing in the top 5. I believe that's the first time both Trackhouse cars have finished in the top 5. So, good runs for him. Corey LaJoie gets a top 5. Best career finish for Corey LaJoie. I believe this is his first career top 5 finish. Corey LaJoie always finds a way to these super speedways to run really good. Great run for Corey LaJoie after kind of a struggling start to the year, especially after issues at Phoenix last week. Good redemption for them. He finishes in 5th. Chase Elliott finished at 6th. Chase Elliott had a very strong run today. He did fall back late, and he really never got back up there. But a 6th place finish regardless. Good run from Chase Elliott. Chris Buescher with another solid top 10 run, finished 7th. Very solid run for Chris Buescher. Mark Truex Jr. finishes 8th. Mark Truex Jr. needed a good run after the last couple weeks have gone. Very solid run for him. He finishes in 8th here at Atlanta. He had a good car today, too. Just fell back there at points in this race. Joey Logano finishes 9th. Very solid run from Joey Logano. Joey Logano also got damaged, so solid comeback for Joey Logano. And Alex Bowman finishes 10th. How about that? Another top 10 run from Alex Bowman. Need to get that consistency a little bit better, but I think Alex Bowman, if he can get that consistency better, he could be a championship threat. Justin Haley gets his first top 15 of the season, I believe, an 11th place finish. Solid run from Justin Haley at the end of the day. He needed that good run. He gets 11th. Brad Keselowski finishes 12th. Brad Keselowski, I thought, was going to be a little bit more of a factor today. But in all seriousness, in all honesty, he just needed to come out of here with a good run after last week and the last couple weeks have gone. He kept his nose clean most of the day. And he's top 15. Good run for Brad Keselowski. Bubba Wallace finished his 13th. I really feel for Bubba Wallace there. There was actually a lot of concern if Bubba Wallace was actually hurt. It seemed like he may have gotten hurt after the wreck. He did get out of his car, but it seemed like he got hurt. Man, Bubba Wallace is right there once again in contention to win a super speed race. I'm telling you, Bubba Wallace is going to win one of these super speed races here in the near future. He is way too good on these super speed tracks to not get a victory, and he probably had one of the best cars at the end. but his 13th place finish, again, decent points today. They did get a lot of stage points, so that definitely will help them, but they probably would have liked to finish higher than that. Eric Jones finishes 14th, solid top 15 run. They needed a good run today, and they got a top 15. Yes, they got involved in a wreck, but they still got a top 15 finish. Chase Briscoe finishes 15th after winning last week. Josh Bilicki got a top 20. Great run from Josh Bilicki. First top 20, probably, I think, almost, maybe not his first in his Cup career, but a solid top 20 for him in the 77. Ryan Blaney, after his wreck, he finished his 17th. He had a good card today, just unfortunately, late race wreck unfortunately took him out. David Reagan gets a top 20 finish in 18th. He really was quiet most of the day, but got a top 20. BJ McLeod gets a top 20, 19th place. Great run for BJ McLeod in 19th. This guy's only finished, I think, once outside the top 30, so major props for BJ McLeod this season. Greg Biffle finishes 20th. Greg Biffle deserves to finish where he ends. He was in the top 20 most of the day, especially at the end, and kept his nose clean most of the day. Of course, the situation with Cody, where it really happened. But 20th place finisher Greg Biffle, good first top 20 Greg Biffle has had this year. And on top of that, this is going to be good owner's points for NY Racing, pending post-race inspection. Good run in a day for Greg Biffle. He finishes in 20th. Kevin Hart finishes 21st after his issues late. Eric Almirola finishes 22nd, worst finish he's had all year. Had a good car all day. I think Eric Almirola will potentially make the playoffs this year, but he finishes 22nd today. Chris Abel, after his issues, he finishes in 23rd. Michael McDowell finishes in 24th. Harrison Burton finishes 25th. 26th for Cody Ware. 27th place for Todd Gillen. 28th for Tyler Reddick. 29th for Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is a driver that really needs redemption. He's like 27th or 28th in points and has struggled this season. Kyle Larson, also another driver that needs a good run. 2 straight races where he's finished outside the top 20. Very bad run for Kyle Larson. He's had, I think, more DNS now than he had last year, so unfortunate for him, he finishes in 30th. Ricky Stenhouse, for his issues, he had a great card day. Unfortunately, his issues came up. He finishes in 31st. Already 32nd for Austin Center, Daytona 500 winner. Kyle Busch finishes in 33rd. Cole Custer finishes 34th. 35th for Austin Dillon. 36th for Ty Dillon. And finishing last in 37th place is Noah Gragson. So now, we'll talk about the race as a whole and give you my score of today's race. I will say that this race went a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was a very, very crazy race, but it is like a super speedway. An Atlanta race like a super speedway. I thought it was either going to be a really bad race or was going to be one of the best races ever, or maybe in between. And this race kind of was in between. You had your moments, there was a lot of excitement where guys were going side by side, and that first half of the race I thought was really, really good. But then you had your points like other super speedway races where it was absolutely crazy and insane. And there was just points where also it was boring too. So it had all the kind of stuff you see in a super speedway race. And I know a lot of y'all are thinking, yes, I thought the race was good. So overall, I'm going to give my score for today's Atlanta race I'm going to give it, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I was really worried about this race, and I will say that it passed my expectations. But let me make this very, very honest and very, very clear. Just because a race was good today does not mean we need to change every mile-and-a-half race to a freaking track like this. This is an exception because it did turn into a super speedway track, unfortunately, and I do prefer the old Atlanta that we used to have. That being said, though, I do like this new. I have to go on a new Atlanta, and I also do want to say that I really hope that in the future both Atlanta races do end up being 400 miles. The crowds were actually pretty good today, which was a major surprise to me. But basically a 400-mile race is probably where we need to go from here on out, especially with that and all that stuff. So 400-mile race in the future, but I'll give this race an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a really solid race. I'll say it was actually better than Phoenix, and that's saying something that was better than Phoenix, but very surprising there too. But good race over my opinion, an 8.5 out of 10. Also mentioning a little about the F1 IndyCar races. Those races were absolutely nuts and crazy. I'm planning to talk about those tomorrow on the channel in the next news video, but we'll get into those a little bit as well. So, anyway, that is today's race review from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notification on Speed Notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's get below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway? Let me know below. Let me know your score to console, and congratulate William Byron on picking up the victory here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow we're going to have a wrap-up video and a news video on the things we've missed over the last couple of days. We've definitely got quite a bit to talk about for sure that you will see on the channel tomorrow. And I might in the future have a rant video coming on Fox Sports' coverage. I've got a lot of things I want to say, and I might be coming in the future, but it'll be determined on how much news we get here over the next couple of days. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.